fathers, the reason for living, the missing piece of the puzzle. Without foundation, we crumble.
San Diego, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. This is bittersweet, but we're in the game. Just want to thank you for attending and making everyone. I hope everyone feels welcome. Yes. I would like to say, very individual that is going to follow me is my dear brother. Not just by culture or biological, but by our commitment to change. And I have to say, 1 o'clock, I want you guys to please, with your hearts, clapping your hearts, clap with your hands, and welcome to the podium, Mr. Reverend Shane Harris.
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
Say his name!
George Floyd!
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 What's his name?
George Floyd!
Give yourself a big hand for being here tonight and standing with Gary Jones and other victims like Jesse Evans, who's going to speak tonight. Brother, we salute you because you've been doing a great job. And he's going to share a few words. And Amy Zamudio, I want to thank Dr. Cheryl Morrow, Dr. Lawana Richmond, Mr. Abdul Rahim Hamid, President of the Black Contractors. These are the people who make the community move. Ramel J. Wallace, who really gave us, and who's here tonight really to support this 1-year anniversary. Pastor Nate Stewart of Greater Life. We want to thank you, Pastor Stewart, for being here. Pastor Spriggs, all of the leaders who are here. If I didn't call your name, don't get mad at me. Tierra from UCSD, she really gave it to us, didn't she?
Yes.
She's a great speaker. But the reason why we're here tonight is to stand in solidarity with the family of George Floyd. People say, oh, it's not about individualized justice. This ain't about George Floyd. It's about every family, and it is. But tonight, today, is the 1-year anniversary from the day that we lost George Floyd, but also the day that George Floyd changed the world. And I want to give Gary Jones, the cousin of George Floyd, a big hand for standing up as a cousin and saying, I want my voice to be heard too. And he ought to have his voice heard. So in just a few minutes, you're going to hear from him. On May 25th, 2020, we lost a significant voice, a significant person, who we would find out who he was. But as Gary and other family members tell me, we already knew who he was. He had been saying, I'm going to be internationally renowned. I'm going to be well known. I'm going to be national. I see Brother Carlton Overstreet from Hip Hop 5K. Come on up, brother. Come on up, brother. Come on. You with the community. Let's give him a hand as he comes. San Diego Hip Hop 5K. They knew that Brother George Floyd had said that he would be national. He would be international. But they did not know what that meant. And he didn't know what that meant when he said it. On the day that George Floyd was killed, the cop who killed him, Derek Chauvin, knelt on his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, like his life didn't matter, like he had no humanity in him, like there was no dignity in caring for a life, even as you are alleging that they did something. I want to go to what the problem was. They showed up because they got a call about allegedly that George Floyd had a fake dollar bill. Allegedly. Police showed up like George Floyd was guilty before George Floyd could even prove his own innocence. The problem with that scenario, we want to stop at the knee nailing on the neck. We want to stop at the knee being on the neck of George Floyd. But what we need to pay attention to is the abuse of power before he killed George Floyd with his knee on his neck. Go ahead, you clap, we in church. The problem we are seeing with police officers across this country, some who are not good cops, because we know we got some good cops, but it's not at all police, not the other way around. So, he knelt on his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. Tonight, the building behind us is going to light up in blue and green in Minneapolis, Minnesota colors. And I'm thankful to Helen Robbins Myers, the San Diego County Chief Administrative Officer, who agreed with us to do this when we requested it. Because when this building lights up, we are going to kneel for 9 minutes and 29 seconds and tell the U.S. Senate, you need to pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 2021. As we convene tonight, we remember George Floyd, but we're thankful for Jesse Evans, who is still with us, a man who was beat down in La Jolla with no dignity. Same situation. Police showed up like Mr. Evans was a criminal, and they alleged him of a crime before they can prove that he actually committed it. What is wrong with a justice system where police show up like they are the judge, the jury, and the executioner? We are going to put a stop to this, so help me God. You do not get the right, because you're wearing a badge and a gun on your waist, to show up like you get to make the decisions about who's guilty or who's innocent. Jesse Evans should have been given an infraction ticket at least if they thought he committed a crime, and so should George Floyd, because an alleged fake dollar bill is not a crime of jail punishment or death at all. That's an infraction. So today, as we come to mark the historic one-year anniversary, what's after the anniversary is the memo today. Because y'all want to celebrate one day and 1 year and think that the fight is over because a cop was convicted. The cop was convicted, but the legislation needs to be passed. We need equal enforcement and equal justice under the law. So when I asked Gary Jones, the cousin of George Floyd, what do you want to talk about? He said to me, we don't want to stop at 1 year. This is not about an anniversary. This is about what's after the anniversary. And I want to share with you a couple thoughts before Gary comes about what I think after the anniversary ought to look like. Number one, the U.S. Senate needs to get on the ball and pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 2021. Now I know some are saying, well, they missed the deadline. I'm okay with missing the deadline if we're going to have a bill that goes deeper than the surface. Number two, weeks ago, when Derek Chauvin was convicted on all counts, I asked the County Board of Supervisors in San Diego, the city of San Diego in letters and with the press that they would pass resolutions supporting the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 2021. I'm proud to report today that the County Board of Supervisors, after our request, passed a resolution supporting the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 2021. However, the mayor of San Diego, Mr. Gloria, and the City Council of San Diego has failed to pass a resolution supporting the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 2021. And the question I have for them is, where do you stand in the city of San Diego as a region in regard to supporting this federal reform package and legislation? So today I stand again. We stand to call on Mayor Todd Gloria and the San Diego City Council to pass immediately a resolution supporting H.R. 1280, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. There's no time for waiting. And then finally, I'm going to need every police department in this country and every city government and official to get serious about this problem, not just from the losing lives perspective. It's sad when Gary has to stand here and his cousin is dead. But you know what's even worse? It's that because the city of Minneapolis and the Minneapolis Police Department taxpayers cannot pay for this problem no more. And lives cannot be lost anymore. So, what's after the anniversary? What's after the anniversary? We need to pass federal police reform immediately. What's after the anniversary? We need to get serious about plugging out the local Derek Chauvins. What happens after the anniversary? We need to get serious about getting some real work done instead of sitting up here placating the Black Lives Matter movement. Enough is enough, and our elected officials need to know if you don't take action, we'll vote you out. We'll vote you out. We'll vote you out. Ladies and gentlemen, let us hear at this time the cousin of George Floyd. He's in the U.S. military, serving in the Navy as a culinary specialist. He was on a ship in Guam when he heard about his cousin's death. And he is now standing up by giving approval from the military in solidarity with his family and with his cousin. Let us welcome now, let's give him a big round of applause, Brother Gary Jones, the cousin of George Floyd.
For some reason, he was going to have to make a change. It was in him, an intuition. As he was on the ground laying there and looking up in the sky, God makes no mistakes. His life was taken for us to all make a change, and it starts with us. It starts with us, the people down here. We have to make a change here for everybody to fall in line. He already knew that his life was going to be bigger than what it was going to be. George Floyd let me know when he was little that the whole world would know his name. And to then, I said, you know what? You're right. I talk to him all the time. He comes to me in entities. He also let me know that there will be a change. There will be a better day for everybody. His life was taken for everybody to have a better outlook on life, to everybody's eyes to be open for everything that's going on down here on earth. He had already known when he was born that he was going to make a change and a difference in this world. George Floyd, Perry, I'm sorry about that, he loves everybody. He was the kindest person. My cousin was a wonderful man. He was a dad, a father. He did things down here I couldn't imagine. He did things to make this world, for me and you, to have a better place out here. I'm out here serving the country to make sure the world is a better place. And all I ask, as I'm serving the country, I can die any day. So I ask for the gift to be passed down for others to be able to go home safe and sound and go to their families. That's all I ask out here. So when everything goes down and everybody looks and everybody can sleep at night, George Floyd, he made a difference out here. He loved everybody. If he can't breathe, you can't breathe. If he can't breathe, you can't breathe. That's just point blank. And he already knew that the world was bigger than him. He looked in the sky and was already calling out his mom's name. 9/29. He already knew that he was going up to heaven with his mother that day. As that was taking place, he already knew that he was going to make a change right then and there. For everybody to be treated equally. The next time you get pulled over, or you come somewhere for a ticket, or whatever the case may be, you will be treated fine. You will be treated with kindness. Perry wanted everybody to be treated with kindness out here. Everybody has a voice. We're all humans. We're all here to serve in this world, and we all have a job to do out here. Everybody wants to go home safe to their families and make sure their kids are asleep and make sure they get up and go to work every day. He appreciated everybody. Today is definitely the anniversary. I support all my family members here at the White House. George Floyd Act, 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 George Floyd Act. So all my family members, they're doing a wonderful job. I appreciate everybody. I want to say thank you. My cousin Perry, also, he knew something about that day wasn't going to be right. There was something about that day, he just knew that, you know what, today, I will make a change in this world. Unfortunately, somebody had to help him with a knee on his neck. Perry played sports, basketball. He was a huge rapper as well. When he told me the whole world would know him, I was thinking he was going to be known for something of that nature. Perry, I know you're looking down right now. I'm not dizzy. You woke me up. You woke me up. I know you're looking down right now saying, Gary, what you doing down there? What you doing down there? Because if it was you, I'd be doing the same thing for you. Ain't no way you ain't have no voice and you don't have a platform and you don't speak on it and let people know that all humans are down here to be treated fairly and kindly. That's all Perry wanted. That's all he asked. He taps me all the time, wake up, you gotta make a change, you gotta make a difference, you have a voice. So that lands me in this position I am. I have wonderful humans around me, and I appreciate them. I appreciate them so much. And I speak through him. I speak to him all the time. He always taps me and give me a nudge and say, hey man, what type of difference you making on down there in that world? And I tap him back and say, look at me now, I got you.
Thank you, George. Thank you, George. Thank you, George.
Keep this short and sweet. I appreciate everybody coming out. Once again, thank you.
Thank you.
Give him a big hand.
President Jerry in the house. Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. Love, brother.
Now, I want to thank some of the co-sponsors of this event, people who stood with the People's Association of Justice Advocates, Black Contractors Association, National Black Contractors Association. We want to thank the Humanity Movement, San Diego Monitor News. We also want to thank the North County Equity and Justice Coalition. And we also want to thank Shafat Outreach Bishop Cornelius Bowser. Now with that being said, and we want to thank UCSD, even though they were not formally sponsoring this event, we want to thank Tierra and some of the students who are part of the movement who showed up today. I want to now introduce Advocate Amy Zamudio from La Jolla and Brother Jesse. Now this is my brother right here. Me and Jesse been playing football. Sometimes I go over there on Saturday if I can, my schedule permits, and we talk all kinds of trash across the football, across the grass in the backyard. But seriously, we love this brother, and we are glad that he's not dead. He could have been dead that day. That police officers alleged that he was peeing in a bush, and he didn't even have his pants down yet. So we stand with him, and we thank Amy Zamudio because she's been taking care and looking out for our brother. He's an unsheltered resident. He's not a transient. Let us welcome Amy Zamudio at this time.
Hi, I'm Amy Zamudio, 43-year resident of La Jolla, California. We want everyone to be able to wake up in the morning and go on their morning walk to the beach safely. Did that way, intercepted that way. He should have been able to wake up that morning like all of us in La Jolla do and walk to the beach and go for a morning swim unbothered. But as I sit here holding this life vest that was around Jesse's neck, I can't help but wonder if this life vest saved his life that day when the police officers assaulted him. Did this life vest actually save his life that day that Jesse was wearing around his neck? Thank you.
You cops stopped me in their appearing arrest me attempt while I was en route to find a place to do so. After being on my freedom to walk across the street and sidewalk, traveled about right between cops, and I broke out. If I was with them cops on impeding me, I'm a forward progress for a place on my pants stuff Pete. So you got a solution to this. What is a patron to if they don't know if they can reach a clean pot anytime like they got a shit or a piss? Are they to have they action on themselves they can't beforehand reach the potty? What's really be done regarding any ever function of patron's body? For the record, that's not the exact right check I have around me. Mine never got returned to me after being stolen. The cops pretty much ran my stuff. I'd like to thank all the support that I've had here. It really makes me truly sorry that I made that comment about wanting to leave this country. I hope that our support is strong enough so we can reasonably get justice, and the justice will always prevail. I wish all of you all the best. I truly do unconditionally love all of you here. Hope all is well in your life, and peace.
Love, love, love.
Say his name, Jesse Evans. Say his name,
Jesse Evans.
say his name.
Jesse Evans.
See, we gotta learn how to say these names when they're alive, and not wait till folks is dead. And so folks said to me, "Oh, why y'all getting behind him?" Because he's alive. What do you think? I mean, come on, what are you thinking? Of course we behind him. We got to be behind the alive before, even more so than we're behind the dead, because the standard should not be, oh, well, he wasn't killed. No, that's not a standard. The standard should be that these public servants who swear in to protect and defend the Constitution understand that if you hold misconduct, you're going to pay the price like Derek Chauvin. Period. All right. So with that being said, now that I got my rant out of the way, let me introduce now Reverend Tim Siri of the La Jolla UCC Church, who's going to speak. And we're almost near sunset. I've asked the county to light the building that will go up in blue and green at sunset, and we will kneel for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. Reverend Tim Seary.
It was 1 year ago tomorrow, the day after the murder of George Floyd, that we had a significant moment in the life of my 120-year-old congregation. It was on that day that we decided that it was about time that we made a commitment to publicly declare that Black Lives Matter. And we knew that this is a commitment that we would call upon all churches in this country to make. It's a commitment to show up, a commitment to use not only our voices, but also our bodies, our lives, our witness, our time, and our resources to work towards racial justice in this community. If we believe that we are serious about being disciples, then we must also get serious about being anti-racist. And for those of us in the church, we ought to feel the rage in our bones when we see or think about what happened to George Floyd 1 year ago today. And that's because we know very well an ancient story about a time when a person of color's very presence disturbed the empire so much that the authorities had to literally take his breath away to maintain their dominance. We watched this story repeat itself last year. In 2020, his name was George Floyd, and in year 29 AD, it was a Palestinian man named Jesus Christ. Both of them were mocked by their killers, and both of them cried out to their parents with their final breaths. Jesus cried out to his father, and George to his mother. But 3 days later, that tomb was empty, and the movement was taken to the streets and spread across the world. Reverend Shane asked about what happens after the anniversary. We will continue to say their names. We will continue to show up. We will continue to organize. We will continue to vote. We will continue to persist. We will continue to remember. We will continue to hold our institutions accountable, and we will continue to forever proclaim Black Lives Matter.
Thank you, Reverend Tim Seary. At this time, let us welcome Yusef Miller, the co-founder of the North County Equity and Justice Coalition. Let's give him a big hand.
My name is Yusef Miller, the co-founder of the North County Equity and Justice Coalition, and fellow veteran like my brother CS3. And we are here today to honor the sacrifice of George Floyd. Is that why we're here? The sacrifice of George Floyd. Is that why we're here?
Thank you, George.
That's why we're here to honor the sacrifice of George Floyd. But I'm here today to tell you all that if you are not concerned about the loss of life of Alfred Alongo in El Cajon, then you are doing disservice to the honor of George Floyd. If you are not concerned about the loss of life of Raul Rivera in South Bay, you are doing a disservice to George Floyd. For Earl McNeil in National City, for Jonathan Cornell in Vista, for Sergio Wick in Vista. If you are not doing justice to these names, you are doing a disservice to George Floyd. Give me some names. San Diego names.
Earl McNeil.
Earl McNeil. Give me some names. Richard Price. Give me some names. Aaliyah Jenkins. Give me some names. We have many names throughout San Diego. Sean Penn. Sagan Penn. We have many names throughout San Diego in this issue. Again, Edward Lawson, many names, Harold Marson, and many, many names that are going on throughout San Diego in this George Floyd movement, been going on before a George Floyd, and we're now focused on this George Floyd Act to make sure that George Floyd memory is service to the people in San Diego, and you are doing a disservice to George Floyd if you do not honor these names that are happening here. This is what George Floyd would have wanted. This is what our brother is here to do. He's here to stand in San Diego and honor these names and bring the George Floyd Policing Act to the ground here in San Diego. Thank you for your time. I'm Yusef Miller.
Thank you.
tomorrow. We're nearing the sunset. You don't want to miss it. We're going to take a knee for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. You remember, now y'all talking about, I got dinner to make, I got this to do. Okay, and George Floyd gave his life. For 9 minutes and 29 seconds, they knelt on his neck like it didn't matter. We gonna kneel. Now you say, I got bad knees. Well then stand. Or sit on the ledge or something. But we are gonna kneel for 9 minutes and 29 seconds to remember the legacy and the history and the commitment after the anniversary of George Floyd. Let us welcome poet Ramel J. Wallace for another spoken word.
It really touched me because, like, cousins, that's why I do this. We used to go to the barbecue and I would just share my poems and my rap with my cousins.